Okay, hello Studio 108 community. Thank you so much for clicking in. I'm sitting with my dear friend, business partner, and one of the familiar faces here at the studio too, Dolores Alquist. And we want to chat today about the business that we share down the street. We want to tell you all about it. We want to tell you why it may, or maybe you'll decide it's not for you, but what it's about so that you can determine. We want to share some of the results we're getting, and we want to talk a little bit about how this particular service kind of weaves into life and kind of how we look at our own wellness journeys. So yeah, it takes a lot of different pieces and parts to put together a puzzle.
Yeah.
And I think that we have some interesting things to say today about one of the puzzle pieces right here in your community. So welcome, Dolores.
Thank you for having me again. Thank you. Good to be here.
Awesome. And the business that we're talking about today is called The Light, Wisdom, and Wellness. It's down the street in Brecksville, across from Burtwarn Tavern, right on the corner of Fitzwater and Route 21. It is a wellness center. And what is unusual, because they are very rare, actually, is the equipment that we have. So it is called the EESystem, the Energy Enhancement System, and it is state-of-the-art cutting-edge technology for raising frequency. So that is a very short synopsis. I'm going to let Dolores unpack it a little bit further for us. Yeah.
So the energy enhancement system is really dynamic, and I think it takes a while to get your arms around how magnificent and the magnitude of the environment, the system, the technology is. And it's an incredibly beautiful process because our bodies are really intelligent and our bodies know what to prioritize. So when you go into the energy enhancement system, we have beautiful, lovely, cozy chairs, and you can sit up or you can lay flat. And we want you to be really relaxed. And what happens is when you go into the room, the energy enhancement system has created an environment in the room that the frequency in the room is at a high enough level that it puts your body in a position to heal whatever the body may be struggling with mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. So you're probably thinking, would it put me in a position to heal this? Would it put me in a position to heal that? And the answer is yes. Whatever the body is struggling with, it puts you in a position for your body to heal. Now, the technology does not do the healing. It puts the body in a position, in an environment to heal itself. And that's what is just so incredible about it, because your body may be struggling with something that you're unaware of or you haven't been able to identify. And that can unwind itself. So we have to trust the body, that the body knows exactly how to unwind it. Now, I don't want to give our ages away, but we've been here for a little while, and we probably accumulated some junk over our lifetime.
Right.
And so sometimes it takes a little bit of time to unwind all that. And that's okay, because it's just starting the process.
Absolutely. And when you think about the way we have understood healing in the West, there isn't really an instant healer, because your immune system has to do its job, and maybe it's supported by certain medications or certain treatments. And this is no different than that. This is just a drug-free treatment. I want to describe the room a little bit.
Please, yeah.
Yeah, so the technology is, the EESystem technology consists of a screen, like a monitor screen, like a television screen, monitor screen, and then a black box behind it. And we have a 24 unit system. So we have 24 of these combo screen box things, and they're stacked on racks in the corners, and they're calibrated to interact with each other across the room. And that calibration is to 1/100th of an inch. So it's very specific. And the science that's happening is that the screens are playing these color lights that are biophotonic energies that are participating in creating a toroidal field. So that circular flow of energy that's like a three-dimensional bagel donut thing that you can't see with your eyes, that certain instruments can read and show you. And then the black box is emitting scalar wave energy. And the scalar wave energy is contributing as well to this toroidal field. So it's hard for us to really wrap our arms around, like Dolores said, this kind of technology because you can't see it with your eyes. It's not three-dimensional. There isn't anything you swallow. There isn't, it's not concrete. And so you're laying in a room in a recliner and you're just letting your body be exposed to this field. And it takes a certain amount of just faith to say, this is really happening. But what I find is that once people are in there, the experience itself is undeniable. Like you feel the difference in the room of what this feels like.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the frequency. What kind of a frequency wave does this create? And what is this frequency in our body and tell us about how that works.
Okay. So there's a multitude of things that are happening within the system, and we have people that will step into the room and feel it immediately. Like some people will need to sit down, because their bodies are either sensitive or really thirsty, to come into greater balance, right? So one of the things that's happening, and I think I'm answering your question, but jump in if I'm not, is the Fibonacci sequence. So 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 1 = 3, 2 + 3 is 5, 5 + 3 is 8, and so on and so forth. So what does that mean? And what does that mean to our bodies? Well, if you look at an embryo, that is how the embryo cells multiply when the embryo goes from being an embryo into a baby and life, right? So our bodies are in perfect alignment with the frequency coming off out of the screens, or the frequency actually comes out of the box, but the patterns that are running through the screen. So when your body's in an alignment with that, it knows what to do with it.
Yeah. And that Fibonacci sequence, that's universal in all living organisms.
Yes.
And all plants and animals.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's like you're going to the scientific building block of life.
Right.
Yeah. So that's exactly the one piece of the puzzle. The other is the entrainment, that the toroidal field is a high frequency field of like 90 to 100 millivolts per second kind of thing. And when they study the human body, what they know is that anything 30 or below is prime for disease. Cancer is like down there at 20 and at 10 millivolts, like, right? And anything higher is life affirming. So 70 to 90 is like a healthier experience for a cell. So when you come into this equipment, there is a law of physics called entrainment, where the energy is going to sync and find each other. And so the example that you might compare to is if you had, an ice cold mug and you poured your root beer in there, and the root beer is warm, right? And you pour it in your ice cold mug, the temperature between those two objects, it entrains, it syncs. The root beer is going to get colder, the mug's going to get warmer, they're going to kind of find their set point. And that again is a law of physics. It's how the universe works. When your physical body goes into this equipment and into this environment that the EESystem has created, you're going to get entrainment. So any of your cells that are frequency lower than this equipment, they're going to have to amp up and bump up. So it's charging your cells and it's shedding out anything that isn't of a high enough frequency. So the equipment doesn't move. It's not going to come down to meet your sickly cells because it's electronic, and it's set to hold that point. But your cells are going to be forced to rise up. And there's a lot that kind of goes into that. One is that, a 2-hour session is minimum. And the other is that you will experience a detox, a release of toxins from being in the system.
Right. So sometimes I've had the experience personally, not just, our clients that have come in. Typically I'm really calm, but when I'm not, I'm not. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to go sit in the lights. And so because I'm so out of whack when that happens, I'll go, and that's a professional term, so out of whack. I'll go, I will go, sit in the chair. And I'll be honest with you, like when I'm that off emotionally, I need a good 15 minutes. And I know now, I just need to breathe through it. And sometimes it's hard to sit there for that 15 minutes, right? Well, we have clients that come in and sometimes it's alarming to them, like, whoa, like what's going on? And of course, now we know to tell them you're coming into alignment, right? You're coming into alignment from where you're at to meet the frequency in the room so your body can expand, release all that it doesn't need, right? So that's what's happening. So hopefully you'll come and visit us. If you have that experience, you just kind of know, I just need to breathe through it and I should be okay in about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, it takes a bit for your nervous system to
Yeah.
kind of calm down. And
Yeah.
when you think about how few opportunities we
Mhm.
have, how few places and times in the day that we have to like relax and to let our nervous system drop down, it like if you get a short break during the day, you're pretty lucky. And then
Yeah.
it's just like the next thing comes along and you're kind of excited back up into your alert state. So having 2 hours in there is even something that's kind of um people are resistant to that. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't have 2 hours for this. But man, are you effective afterwards?
Yeah.
Like it is
Right.
really, really harmonizing to your whole form.
Right.
And that's a mind body
Yeah.
thing. Let's talk about that.
It is, but before
Okay,
we go
we're
there,
so excited.
we are. I have like so much to go from here to here, right? So people are like, oh, 2 hours, right? We have some people come for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I am a fan of spending the night there.
Mhm.
And Tracy has recently had an overnight experience also. And you can get 8 hours in by sleeping, which you're going to be doing anyway. So it's a very efficient use of your time. But typically what happens is it takes our bodies an hour then that's why we say you have to stay a minimum of 2, but you can stay longer. That first hour is your nervous system coming back down to reality, right? Because we are running, we are moving, we are going all the time. And there's so many stimuluses around us, right? If my phone were by me, I'd be picking it up, wanting to scroll through it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So it takes an hour to down regulate your nervous system. So put your body in a position to, release what needs to be released, put your body in a position to be healing, like whatever's going to be going on there for you. So and I think that the overnights can be really effective because if I'm coming in at 2 hour increments, that first hour, I'm down regulating, I'm down regulating, I'm down regulating. If I go for 8 hours, like bam, I only need 1 hour to down regulate. And the rest of the time, like my body is working through whatever it wants to work through, needs to work through.
I think like one of the things that is, I don't know, maybe common sense for some people, but always need a reminder is that when we're in an excitable state, our immune system, our digestive system, even our respiratory and cardio systems, they like shut it down. Like if your body is like in this excited state, you're stressed out and jacked up at work or like whatever you're doing, your immune system is like, okay, they need the energy for this other more important stuff, as if you're running from the bear kind of situation, right?
Mhm.
And so when you downregulate, you think, oh, I'm just relaxed, I'm doing nothing. But your body is actually doing a lot. That's when your systems come on and your systems start like healing cells and repairing, bridges, like whatever they do, whatever's going on in there that we can't see.
Yeah.
So like, it's not a little thing to give yourself time. It's a really big thing.
It's huge. It's huge. And we don't bat an eye to, watch something on TV for a couple hours or, to engage in some level of activity that's a couple hours long. But the greatest gift we have, the greatest vessel we have is this body. right? And taking care of it and nurturing it is super important. And your question was mind, body, soul, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, probably in years past or in old belief systems, it was okay if you just, focused on your career, if you had one single focus that you wanted to master, and that's really not acceptable anymore. It's about mind, body, spirit, right? Mind, body, soul. And it's really important to have your entire being, not just your body, functioning properly. And if one thing is holding you back, you're feeling the magnitude of that, right? So if you're just paying attention to your physical body and you're not paying attention to your mental state of mind and your spirit and your soul, like it's just it becomes really increasingly difficult for that for you to function properly. So that balance within your entire being is more and more important as the days go on.
100%.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they say about this technology is that it heals on a third, fourth, fifth dimensional way. It heals physically, it heals mentally, and that's one of the chief reports we get from people is that their mind is clear, they're not as distractible. The mental clarity that you can get through that is really incredible.
Right.
But also a ton of people talking about just the inspiration they get, the forgiveness they find, the way their life starts coming into synchronicity, and solutions are just kind of put there. So like when we say your body heals itself, like sometimes your body heals itself because your little cells do this, that, and the other, and they'll heal, like I had a cut and it's all healed over, my body healed it. But some of the healing is like giving you the clarity to see the next opportunity, giving you the patience to receive the next idea or the next service or solution to your problem. It's like, it's not just in the three-dimensional physical, it's like all of these other pieces start coming together.
Right.
And we have a whole definition of what it means to be healthy, of what it means to be aligned, of what it means to be just in harmony with ourselves than we did even 30, 40 years ago.
Oh my God,
like,
yeah.
right? Huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a very relevant new way of looking at wellness.
Yeah. It is. And I'll give an example. I was in the light a couple months ago, and I was focusing on like, what are our next steps, right? What do we need to be doing here as a business? And if you know me, you will know I don't know a lot about crystals, and we have beautiful crystals here in this room. And I received the inspiration to have people bring their crystals into the room to have them recharged. And Tracy was like, well, why don't I just put them in the sun? Like, that's how we recharge them. We put them in the sun. And I understood immediately that the crystal can be raised to a new frequency or its maximum of healing abilities and everything's crystals do by being in the room, because the frequency in there is so much higher. So I have a couple crystals at home. I brought them in, and the colors.
It was unbelievable.
It was.
It's not the same stone. I'm like, what happened to these?
They're so beautiful. The colors are vibrant, and you can't help but like gaze at them when you look at them now. They're so beautiful. Yeah.
Because it's so apparent.
Yeah.
If we slow down and say, I'm curious about this, like you don't have to just believe what we're saying, like, but have different experiments. And like, have you ever held an apple like that you just picked off a tree and it's got a certain feeling to it? And then have you ever been like at some place where maybe the produce isn't very fresh? I won't name any names, but there are some places where it just seems like the produce isn't very fresh, and you pick up an apple and you're just like, oh, you sad, sorry apple. Like, no one has to tell us that there's a difference in energy between the apple just pulled off the tree and this apple that has been bounced across the country and has been, waiting for someone to love it for 6 weeks. Like, it is so far from its tree, so far from its life force. Like, that's the prana, the chi. And I mean, you do it all the time. Like, when you see your mother all the time and she looks good one day and another day you're like, are you okay, mom? It's like there's an energy read that you can get when someone is really well charged or when someone is depleted and not well charged. Like all of these things, we do it all the time, but we don't really consider the value, because if I'm regularly, and this has been since we opened in September of 2023, so it hasn't even been a year yet, but I can tell behind the eyes, the light behind the eyes, the people that are coming regularly. Like there is a glow behind the eyes that defies their age. I can tell in my own life, in my situation, how much more energy I have, how much more interest I have in life, how much more willing I am to say yes to things. And you think, oh, these are really subtle, and they are, but boy, do they operationalize in life big time.
Really big.
Really, they ripple out into your life like so significantly.
Right. And so even like my hairstylist has said to me, she is just as precious as the days long. She's like, girl, your hair is growing so fast. What are you doing to it? And I get my hair colored, and I used to go every 6 to 7 weeks, and now it's 9 weeks that I'm going in between time getting my hair colored. And so I just kind of giggle, I just kind of laugh about that. I think it's really amazing how there's some level of anti-aging or reverse aging actually happening and going on. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we have more success stories. What else?
We do. So I'll share a couple recent ones with you. And actually this is an invitation for you also. If you want to come to the light and just stand in the room and we'll explain to you what's happening, it's a really great way to see if you're in alignment with it. So I had a couple come in, and we were standing in the room for 20 minutes, and I was explaining everything, and we were just, of course, chit-chatting. And unbeknownst to me, after the gentleman left the room, he had knee surgery 5 times on one of his knees, and when he would stand up, it would take like his brain to be like, okay, standing, move forward, right? And frequently would like lose his balance as he stood up. Well, it's gone. He can like stand up and go now.
20 minutes.
20 minutes standing, not even sitting, chit-chatting, just taking everything in. He had whatever was going on there has been healed. Like, holy cow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
We also have 2 stories of infertility, couples that were struggling with infertility that are both, happily expecting today. And I will tell you, one of the couples only came in for one of the females came in just one time for 2 hours. And the other couple came in for a couple of times, but both of them were en route to have IVF done, and that was canceled. And holy cow, we have 2 new human beings coming to this planet now. I am so like in awe over that. Like, how exciting is that? I'll share one more, and then you can share a couple. We have someone that went in there for 2 hours, and I was laughing so hard because her mind is always going. She came out, she's like, I was forcing myself to have a thought, and I could not. Like, she was able to silence her mind.
Freaked her out.
And just like she was freaked out. She was also struggling with seasonal allergies and had not been able to lay flat for 2 weeks. She was sleeping at night sitting up because just the drainage was too much for her. She was able to lay flat for 2 hours and sleep. She was so excited. So excited.
That's huge.
And the allergies, to the best of my knowledge, the seasonal allergies, it seems to be gone.
Right.
And she's not really struggling with it anymore.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Really,
I don't know. I just I compare. Like, I'm not a big miracle person, this insecure person, like that's, or the insecure kind of thing. Like, I don't want to sell that, because I think everything probably just needs a little maintenance, like maintenance is a good thing. I have to brush my teeth every day. I have to go to the dentist every 6 months, like things need maintenance. And so I don't really like to say a lot about that, but sometimes it's a glitch in the energy form that manifests in the physical. In the yoga world, we talk about our koshas, which is like our different layers of being. And you've got your Anamaya Kosha, which is based on your Ana, your food. And your Anamaya Kosha or Manamaya Kosha is your food substance, which is your physical form. And then you have like the kosha that it contains your mind thoughts. You have the kosha that contains your emotions, that contains like your subtle energy, your prana, your chakras and that stuff. So there's like all these layers and we think, oh, it's layered on like a 10-layer cake. Here's me, and then here's the next part of me, and here's the next part of me, and here's the next part of me. But I like to think of it more accurately, that all of these different portions are woven together. So they're integrated. And it's like when I was a kid in the 70s, we had, remember in the 70s, or have you seen a picture of the 70s? We had plaid couches and I would be like sick and laying on the couch and my mind would try to figure out like, how did that weave happen to make that couch plaid? Like there's the red thread, oh, where's the yellow thread coming across and the brown thread coming? Like, how did the different colors come together to make this look like plaid? And that's what I imagine like our koshas to be. Like all the colors just in a multidimensional way kind of weave together, and all these aspects of ourself weave together. So my physical form includes and it's containing my emotions. It includes and it's containing my thoughts. It includes and it's containing my subtle energies. So yeah, like if there's like a thought form that is creating the snafu that is manifesting in the physical, if there is erroneous belief or a karmic tie that's woven through, that's manifesting in a physical, 20 minutes might just do it. Like,
Yeah.
how do we know? But we don't know.
Right.
But how do we know? We have experiences.
Mhm.
So we're just sharing some experiences today, and you'd have
Yeah.
to come in and get your own experience. But let me think if I have any more. The arthritis in my neck. You know, like I always go to myself because that's so
Right.
experiential. I remember those
Right.
so much better.
Yeah.
With the arthritis is better in my neck, and the misalignment that happens is better. And I don't know if I can say to you the EESystem aligns my neck. What I can say to you is the EESystem regulates my nervous system. It helps me manage stress better. So then my holding pattern of tension here doesn't grab and pull my head out of alignment. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my body has to figure out where the healing is coming from. And I can't go in there and say, this is what I want to have happen will happen, so much as I can say, I want my highest health out of this. I want my
Right.
highest well-being out of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We also had a gentleman recently that back, neck, shoulder pain that has been around for a long time. I think it's totally gone. If it's not totally gone, the chronic pain has pretty much been minimized.
Yeah, he's living with it, happy.
Yeah.
How many times was he in? Like
You know,
4 or 5?
He has been in 4 or 5 times, but that was after his first session.
Wow, even
Yeah.
once.
Yeah, even once, yeah. And energy since then, his energy level has been picking up. So
That's been crazy.
yeah, which is really, really beautiful for him. Not only for himself, but he has 2 young children. So
Oh,
being able
lovely.
to, really participate in family has been fantastic for him.
Huge.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that's been kind of funny for me, because sometimes the people that come in are a little bit older.
Mhm.
They come in very grumpy.
Mhm.
And sometimes even after coming in several times, they'll be like, yeah, this isn't doing anything. But when they walk in, they're standing up taller, they're swinging their legs a little bit bigger, their mood is better, and they're like happy as can be talking to me after like their 3rd or 4th visit. They're like so happy talking to me. Yeah, but it's not really, I'm not really getting any results. And I'm like, no, you're not, are you? Like, I remember the first time you walked in, you were so like just frustrated and angsty and dark and heavy. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's so super cool.
Yeah, it really is. Like we kind of see, and sometimes we might see people differently, but they're glowing, like there's a
Yeah.
glow to them now, that was not there in the past.
All right, so we have to tell you about this one thing, because one of the things that happens, they're basically, we already spoke quite a bit about down regulating your nervous system. It's an anti-inflammatory. So a lot of these results could be just like the anti-inflammatory, if that is really, really helpful. And then also there's a detox, which is huge. And in order to support the detox, because I don't think that I've ever experienced or heard of any other intervention treatment kind of thing that created this significant of a detox. And so people aren't familiar with that, and they think, oh, I'll just drink this detox tea, or I'll soak in Epsom salts, and that's not sufficient for this level of detox. This EESystem is prompting your body to release a great number of toxins, and it would be a very heavy load for your body to process all of that. What your body is going to end up doing is reabsorbing it. So in order to facilitate the release of these toxins, Dolores, why don't you talk about like why Epsom salts don't work and what that's
Yeah.
about?
So from the research that we have done, our understanding is Epsom salt is really good for achy muscles. So how does the Epsom salt get to your achy muscles? It's absorbed into your body to help your achy muscles. And that part of it is fine, but the part that is probably not so fine is the tap water. You go and you soak your feet in the Epsom salt and or your whole body. You're doing a foot soak or a bath. And so the tap water is entering your body, and probably not the best thing for your body to have to deal with, right? So the blend that we have for the detox, it does not permit the Epsom salt, the tap water to enter the body. And our instructions are very clear. You need to soak in the detox blend that we have with the salts that we have for 30 to 40 minutes. And if you go beyond that 40-minute marker, your body will then start to absorb the tap water, which we don't want to have happen. So the blend that we have does not enter the body. It just pulls the toxins out of the body. And that's what you want. That's what we want. And I will share with you several sessions ago. I was in the lights for 2 hours. I did my salt bath, and the next day was feeling like I had the flu. And I reached out to Tracy, and she's like, you just need another detox. Your body's just purging a lot. And as soon as I did that, I was fine. And that was not my first time in the lights. It was not my first rodeo, but for whatever reason, my body was releasing a lot that time. And I did a second detox and I was fine. And I think it's okay. Like if you do a foot soak or the detox bath, if you feel like the next day you want to drink some good detox tea, or
Oh,
you
yeah,
want to
help
put
it
some
along.
lemon in your water, absolutely.
Yeah, help
But
it along.
yeah,
But
yeah. And I think from our perspective, this has been our greatest challenge, is getting people to understand how important the detox is.
and you guys, it's super easy.
Yeah.
I mean, the bag of salts we sell pretty much at cost. It's $10, and it's either one bath or 2 foot soaks. So if you want to do the foot soak, that's super simple. I take a dish pan, I dump in half of the salt, I put warm water, I stick my feet in it, and then I pick up my laptop and I do my thing. Or I pick up a book, or I eat dinner, or I chill out and watch TV or read a book.
Yeah.
You know, it's 30 minutes and then I'm done. The first few times the water was pretty black. And then, you know, lately it hasn't been as dark,
Yeah.
but maybe I'll get another magic day the way you
Yeah.
got, and I'll get another big
Yeah.
detox push.
Well, I noticed because gentleman brought this to my attention, so I was looking for it. He did a bath, and I usually do a bath as opposed to the foot soak. So when I'm in the tub at the end of my 30 minutes and my legs are flat and I look down, I cannot see my legs.
Oh,
Like
the water's
that's how
all
murky
cloudy.
and
Mhm.
cloudy the water is. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
and that's been fairly consistent. That wasn't a one and done thing. Like
Yeah.
after I soak for 30 minutes, I cannot see through the water to see where my legs are.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ew. Yeah.
Ew. I don't want that. So rinse off before you get out of the tub. I always go, and here's the thing, because it is good for your body to absorb magnesium. Most of us are deficient in magnesium. So usually after my foot soak, I'll rinse my feet off, a little bit of soap, rinse them off in the tub. And then I'll sit down and dry my feet off, and I'll use a little bit of coconut oil and squirt my magnesium spray and rub that into. And then once all the toxins are out and my body wants to soak up that magnesium, it's really, really relaxing.
Yeah.
It's really good for cramping. It's really good for sore muscles.
Yeah.
And it's a good help.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's not that hard.
No, it's not. And I think where everyone kind of gets in their head is the time. Like,
Yeah.
holy cow, this is a time
Oh my
commitment.
gosh, do you know what Tony Robbins says?
What?
If you don't have 10 minutes for yourself, if in your life you don't have 10 minutes for yourself, you don't have a life. And that's what I'm like.
Yeah.
If we don't start, like, each of us individually, and society can't support this idea that we should be taking care of ourselves, that these activities, whether it's yoga, the lights, a massage, a facial, like whatever it is for you, a walk in the woods, sitting on the couch and petting your dog, like whatever it is for you, like, if we don't like value self-care, it's going to be really, really, I just feel like we have to be responsible for that, or else there's going to be consequence.
You will frequently hear me say stillness is the access point to acceleration.
Yeah, that's good.
And like whenever I'm really like, what do I do next? Or, oh my God, I have so much to do. I will stop and just say, what's next? And I will follow that divine inspiration, so I know what to focus on. And, stillness I don't get out of bed in the morning until I stop, usually for like 10 minutes, and really collect my thought, get my mind in a good place, make sure I'm balanced and centered, and then I start my day. So it doesn't mean that you have to sit down and do a 3-hour meditation. If you want to do that, that's awesome. But those little intervals over the course of the day where you can just stop and, recollect your thoughts, identify what's most important next, and then move forward, right? So after I spend time in the lights, that the clarity of thought is so much better. Also, we talked about, it's not uncommon for ourselves and other people, when they're in the lights, they're stopped, their mind is clear, and all of a sudden that problem that you haven't been able to solve for 2 weeks, you're like, now I know what to do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because you had a moment
so
to stop and think about it. Yeah, so much guidance.
And anyone who I know who has a meditation practice comments about how much stronger the connection is there, and how high frequency really facilitates their things. So
do you want to switch gears a little bit?
Yeah.
And talk about 3D, 5D?
Yeah.
A little bit. So I'm not quite sure where I want to start with this, but part of what the energy enhancement system will do, we were just talking about that stillness and the guidance that people receive and that we have received, right? And our lives, we have our lives, right? We go about our lives, and pausing and nurturing ourselves and taking care of ourselves is really important, but it's important at a lot of different levels, right?
All the koshas.
All the koshas,
all the layers of ourselves.
Yeah, all the layers of ourselves, right? So the greatest gift you can give to yourself and to those around you is for you to be in alignment with yourself. And when, and the EESystem, gives you the opportunity to realign with your entire being, right? And then, when you leave there, you have the opportunity to, be more present for relationships, be more present for yourself, so you know what you're looking for and what you want and what you need. And, most of us also have this thing called our career, our job, right? We're small business owners, and even in that form as well. So I work in the financial services industry, and I have to be honest with you, I love the work that I do in what I'm gonna call my third dimensional, job, right? But I also really love the energy enhancement system. And it's not uncommon. People will be like, holy cow, how do you bounce? How do you bounce from 3D to 5D? And I've contemplated that for a long time. I don't bounce anymore. Years past, I'm sure I did. But I promise you, everyone's getting 100% of me, regardless of where I'm at. And people have asked me, especially when we opened up the center, like,
Yeah.
are you leaving? Are you leaving your corporate
day
job,
job,
my
yeah.
day job, right? I'm like, no, nope, I really love that job. I really love what I do there. But it prompted me to really think about it. And I think what I would like to share is, like, when you are 100% of yourself, it puts you in a position to, to follow that divine inspiration. Like, am I supposed to stay here? And I will tell you with 100% certainty, I am to be in my financial services industry job, right? I'm there, I love it. And I promise you, the second I don't feel like I am loving what I am doing, I will revisit the decision that I have made. But Tracy is so blessed to have an incredible yoga studio that you've worked so hard to develop and to evolve. And it's really a very, in my humble opinion, a very, very special place to be and a community to interact with, right? I'm always happy and grounded when I'm here. I love my time here in the studio. So, but not all of us have, the profession that Tracy has created.
And you know what, honestly, like when I just taught, that was very much a 5D kind of situation. I could be in that just elevated state all the time. Owning the business has yanked me down. Right? Like I have spreadsheets now and I have like a lot of different bank accounts that I have to keep organized and teachers to pay and like very three-dimensional decisions and requirements. And so I don't think it's ever going to be singular. I think we're going to have to learn how to not just dance, but integrate and
Right.
really love
Right.
working through the layers of our experience.
Right.
Right. Because I have to somehow anchor the studio to have a 3D experience, even though I tend to live like up here.
Right.
And you've got like your energy healing that you're so powerful at. And then this capacity to really be in that world.
Right.
I mean, you have gifts to give in both places.
Yeah. And, I spent some time, working through everything you just said, so I can, try. Some days are easier than others to be the best version of myself at all times. And these are things that start to happen, right? I start to hear things like, oh my God, no matter when I see you, I always feel so much better when I leave. And that's just me shining my light, right? And by shining my light and my frequency being higher, I'm helping the person sitting on the bus next to me. I don't take that bus, but you know what I mean when I say that, right? Anybody at the grocery store, anybody, anywhere.
Any client,
right?
any coworker.
Yeah, exactly. And my clients will say to me, that's so interesting that you asked me that question today. And I'm like, okay. And usually the answer is really important for me to help them with whatever solution that I'm helping them with. If I'm doing a life enhancement session, people will say the same thing, like, wow, I'm so glad you asked me that because I've really been struggling with that. And then we know how to work through it, right?
Yeah.
So I shouldn't say never. There are days I definitely bounce. Most of the time, I'm carrying my light here. So even when I'm doing things like doing the laundry and going to the grocery store and, inputting stuff into QuickBooks for the business or paying bills for the business, right? I don't do any of that stuff most of the time, unless I am like where I need to be. I'm fully aligned, my light is shining, and I'm bringing as much good energy, good juju to whatever it is that I'm doing, right? Because that energy carries forward. right?
Yeah.
And I heard someone talking once about she will never pay her bills unless she's in a good place. Because as she's paying her bills,
That's such a
as
good
she's
one.
paying her electric bill, it's not just about her paying her electric bill. What it's about is her recognizing, not only having the energy, the electricity that she needs for her home, it's also about what about the workers that get paid to provide that service for her also, right? It's not just me, it's me. I have a comfortable home. I am providing, work for people to provide the electricity to and for me. It's that trickle down effect, right?
Yeah. Also, like the bigger picture of how grateful I am to have a job that lets me pay this, how grateful
That's
I
it.
am
Mhm.
to have a sense of responsibility. And like one of the things that pleases me so much, like I am so happy on payday. I love, love, love paying the teachers. I
Uh-huh.
am so grateful and so
Mhm.
proud
Uh-huh.
to be able to have a place where they can follow their dreams and share
Mhm.
their passions.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful and proud that people will come here and that we're able to help them. And, it's really so much of a bigger picture. And if you can tap into that, it brings meaning to the third dimension.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
it's not so heavy to be there.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Yeah.
and I don't need to complain about my coworkers
Mhm.
or complain about my job
Yeah.
or hate it and wish could escape and just sell umbrellas on the beach in Key West. I can just be really grateful
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Exactly. And I think the other thing that I really want to point out is when you're that joyful and happy and you're letting your light shine, right? Like I don't need to say pull up a seat because we're going to spend the next 48 hours and I'm going to explain to you everything I know about this stuff, right?
Right.
It's when you show up, you are affecting everyone around you and you don't have to say a word. You don't.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
do not have to say a word.
Yeah.
Just your presence.
You guys, if you've never seen the Scales of Consciousness by Hawkins,
Yeah.
it's really, really interesting. And there's like a numeric frequency to each different like state of being. Like an emotion is a state of being. Emotion is an energy that's residing in all of your multidimensional form and around you through your auric electromagnetic current. And each of those different states of being has a numeric frequency to it. And as soon as you get to willingness, which means you're just open to possibility. You don't have the answers, but you get to that willingness, you start to have enough positivity to offset negativity. And, like someone who held the enlightened state, like Jesus, offset millions of negative people on the planet. So what Dolores is saying is like, if you can get to willingness, you're helping the people next to you on the bus. Like you're lifting a frequency and all they have to do is sit next to you and they feel just a little bit better for having been in your field. But if you can get to courage, which means you have a step, you had enough energy to take an action step with your willingness, then boom, it starts exponentially increasing. And so, think about how you feel when you go different places for solutions to your problems, and like think of what frequency it feels to get a solution at this place versus that place, and have experiences and start to think about it, because everything is always mind, body, spirit. It's all three always. We can't weed it apart. And it's too old-fashioned and simplistic to think we can. This is like a new era, a new time. And if we can appreciate that, and I really feel like that's what brings me so much joy and optimism for myself and my family and for our customers at the light, is that the E-System really is treating the whole mind, body, soul form in that energy field, and that there's some benefit to gain from that. Yeah. A lot of benefit, a lot of people benefiting from it. You and me benefiting from it. Look at us gorgeous girls. I know. So
100%.
if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see how shimmery we are. But yeah, that's a Friday afternoon happy chat, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'll drop the website below, but you can always ask me. Dolores loves that Monday night yin class, so you might see her
Yes.
in Kaylee's Monday night yin class, and you can ask her questions directly. And also, just to say, before we peace out, that Dolores is incredibly talented in guiding people as individuals to release past, whether it's ancestral family patterns, just this lifetime patterns. And she's really done a lot to support my personal growth and development. And a lot of people I know say amazing things about you, their experience as well. So yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Namaste. All of that info underneath. And thanks for following.